It always feels so good. We never usually ever get a button on this show, you know? Like, these guys never usually get that. So that feels really, really good. So.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah. Tonight, I have to say that tonight was easily the most surreal and disturbing night I've had in quite some time. And that was thanks to all of you.
Each and every one of you.
So this is actually a chance that not a whole lot of visitors get to, have to be able to kind of step behind the veil and actually speak with the creative team behind the Willows and the actors that portray it. So Melinda's actually super nice. But does any?
No other people advice.
But yeah, does anybody have any questions about the show, the story, anything? The
And
creators?
just so everyone knows, just to break the thing, just so you know, this is Allie, this is Melinda, this is Guy, this is Dasha, this is Deirdre, this is Jackson, this is Jacob, and of course, Daniel.
Yeah! Questions?
The origin story. Yeah.
The origin.
That's a good one for Daniel.
That's a great question. I wrote this with the team, and it was actually Justin's idea originally was to do. We had done Creep, which was sort of a twist on a haunted house. So Justin had the idea. What if we did a twist on a murder mystery dinner, a classic sort of maybe dusty kind of done to death, pun intended, murder mystery dinner, and then it sort of morphed into this weird Addams Family idea, and we came up with characters, and I came up with ridiculous names, and then we found this house, and sort of crafted the show and the track specifically around this house. So it was an effort to do something that we'd never seen done before, and we wanted to do a solid 2-hour, completely interactive, talk as much as you want, deep character history, and see how it went. And that was in 2017, and this is our 4th run of the show, and each year it grows and morphs and evolves and changes, and we add spookier stuff, and the characters become richer and deeper, and we know it inside and out. Melinda's done like 500 shows probably. So it was a little seed of an idea that started with Justin, and then we as the creative team sort of put some water on it, and then it grew completely on its own.
And what's so amazing as the actors can attest, like we learn every year, we just learn and then we apply like the findings, right? This is just as much a social experiment with all of you as we have nights where like the whole table doesn't talk, right? We have like a night where like what happens when we have 18 and only 7 people show up to the show? Like how does the show evolve, and how can we still keep structure, and how can we still keep an experience that is of kilter and makes sense to everyone within.
And it's a delicate science. I mean, we all intimately know each seat is numbered, so we know what track you're on for the rest of the show, and based on where you sit. Yeah.
I'm curious. The first year that I attended, we met and a van brought us over here.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was you. Were you standing there at the van and you were so intimidating that I was afraid to give my friend a Tic Tac?
What? It might have been me.
Probably. It was like a
So my
lantern.
friend, we were in separate lines, and she was like, do you have a Tic Tac? I'm like, I'm afraid to give it. And I think it was you. But I think somebody was living in the home at the time.
Yes, and they
Yes,
still
they still do.
It's the same. So I was wondering the dynamic of when you had the ability to use the house and not.
So, to be honest, the first time we did it, they obviously thought we were nuts, and they were kind of looking through the window and being like, "What are you guys doing in our house? What is this? What are you guys doing?" If you guys notice this arch over here, kind of in the driveway, when you leave, you'll probably see it. This was kind of a horse and carriage house, so that's where they're all. And then in the back, there was a horse stables back there, and that's where they drove them all in. And they turned it into a guest house. So we've developed a relationship where the whole family is here as we speak. They just move out to the guest house when we do our shows. And we've developed this beautiful relationship together. And it took like just a few probably weeks of doing the show before they understood that they could trust us. We could trust them. We always leave the house in a better condition than which we found it. And it turned into after season 2, we would have surprise dinners laid out for us out here over candlelight from the owner. So we have a great mutual relationship, and we're just so grateful for the opportunity to have the house.
His name is also John.
Yeah.
Thanks, John, for
Can I ask if you bring in the props and whatnot, or does this belong to the family as well?
A little bit.
I'd say we've gathered probably like a 15-foot trailer of like decor, tape, like all of it. But like the quirky and the weird and all the eclectic, like that came with the character of this home, and we really like started to dial up certain things. Like we've added 13 paintings into the home, right? But we added to a collection of 15, right? So it's like we really tried to use which each room we came into, right? Like the first night we came into Richard's bedroom upstairs, like that. There was a time where we came in here, and when her daughter lived here, Miriam, she had it all full of dolls, right? And then the next time we came in here, all the dolls were gone. And then we were like, oh, damn, okay, well now what? And then we got mannequin heads, right? And we kind of started to continue to evolve. And that's how we kind of found these spaces and how we kind of found the stories even.
And fun fact, this is actually the living room.
Yes.
That's actually the dining room. And we've kind of flipped around rooms to make it make more sense for our world. But
What do you do when half the audience doesn't show up or they're not that talkative? What are the techniques that the actors use to kind of provoke them?
Yeah, huge bag of tricks.
Explain what that means.
So a lot of it's character history, but a lot of it is also just tasks that we know that we can give other people, put on other characters, to then give them something to do, make people, like force them to be involved, or just give them something to go home with. All these different things that we've gathered over the years, and also that, being double cast, that, I don't know if you guys all probably, most of you probably know Mason, who also plays Conrad. Me and him, we'll finish a show, and we come together and we're like, okay, so I found this, you should try this, and it's like we have all that ammunition, so that if an audience comes and they don't have anything, we can just start firing on them, with everything we've gathered over the past.
Lots of questions too.
Mm-hmm.
Start conversations with people.
Excellent.
I know some of you focused in on certain people. How do you decide who you're going to focus in on? So I know you were focused in on Alex, where he's at. And a lot. Yeah, I found that fascinating.
At least for me, it's pick and choose. I don't have any particular, now, I will say that right by Conrad, I usually ask a particular question of the guest to his left, because it's part of the script type of thing. But otherwise, it's just free.
And I think some choices are pretty specific. We
I
choose between specific seats or specific chairs at the table, and then other times it's who do we think will respond. And
now, as far as taking people, those are predetermined.
But a lot of before we all sit down, there is a lot of just interaction where we're all desperately going around trying to connect with people and hear those trigger words that our characters would be really interested in hearing, and that we connect with you. And then that becomes you should sit here, you should sit by me, I want you over here, because the character wants you to go through a certain track, a certain night, because of things you've said.
Yeah. So as a participant, with our experience with this was best if we really interact with you right off the get.
Yeah, I feel like some of this, like Delusion's a great model, right? Like this immersive horror theater, right? I feel like we have this is a really great balance of like 125-page script mixed with like phenomenal actors and strong improv with like tons of knowledge and history and relationship building and like workshopping, right? Like we put the show up in 2 weeks from a remount, but we have spent months in.
Well, the first rehearsals were like 9 weeks or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, right.
To do backstory and everything.
So it just takes a Rolodex of that combination to kind of make everything.
I think there's like a psychology to guests too. You have to gauge as they come in, especially honestly, if somebody's closed off, it's interesting to play with them. If somebody's open, it's interesting to play with them. There's all kinds of people that come.
And no, not everybody sings for us.
You bet your ass when they mention it, I tell them to do it every time.
But everything's specific and done for a reason. And to his point, the reason why you guys come in and have that first 15 or 20 minutes of cocktails and roaming is for 2 reasons. 1, to get you guys loosened up and playing in the world. 2, for our actors to get to know, just as Jacob was saying, to understand you. But 3, and probably most importantly, is there's such a different level of guests. Some that are super immersive, some are like, quiet, I don't want to be part of this. Some are like, I'm here with my girlfriend, whatever it is. But that first 20 minutes, it's our time to like forget that you're in a show. And by the time we sit down to dinner, it's super awkward, it's super weird. I feel awkward, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And within about 10 minutes or so, you forget you're in a show and you're in the world. And that's why we have that 15 or 20 minutes of buffer to like bring you into our world, get everyone on the same page, and then from there, let's go have some fun.
Excellent.
Also the reason for the time, so you just don't feel like kicked out. You know, I feel like some of these things, like you're in them and they're costly, right? But we really try to put our money and the time and the value. You know, we really hope like it contributes to the full evening, right? And what I was trying to say earlier was like, we haven't seen a lot of stuff. We're literally making this shit up. But we're finding ways that like everything that we were seeing in the space was done through movement. And we like didn't have a lot of text, and the text just almost for a lot felt like cool. Still in a room. I'm just being talked at, and we were like, wow, what about an opportunity to create connection? And then it was like a conversation about how can we connect not only people with performers, but then connect them with strangers. So you all find like really rooted bonds, and you have a social experience, and that's what it really like moves us, because like when you can be welled from tears. And others can be scream in fear, and others can laugh and chuckle, like it's that spoonful of everything, and you just become observing half the people at the table, then you do the talent that is performing, and I think that's what makes it so kind of like bitey and fresh, and like we used to do place cards, we used to literally keep track of where everyone came for 4 years, and we finally realized like we gotta reshuffle that card. And we got to realize that there's probably, you got to see the 1 show and 2 show, right? There's 2 branching shows that you ultimately see, but there's this web within that, like, before we used to do the magic, and we used to be like, you have to take you and you have to take 2 here, and you have to hand them off to you. Like, we got crazy, and it just becomes too much when you're really just trying to perform and connect. Sorry, I had to say that.
I was wondering how, because I remember when you first started this, you said that you used to track every participant's track
By the
to
seconds.
make sure that they didn't see different things, and that was mind blowing.
Yeah.
You should have seen the spreadsheet.
Oh my god! That's
I still have it.
insane.
And I mean,
Right upstairs.
it was down to every 5 minutes or so. I mean, it was just scheduled like, it was, I thought, really? But it worked, it got you in that mindset, and so that it worked, that you knew that things were happening around you.
So I do have to say it was very organic. At one point, I literally told my husband, are we in something, or did we walk into somebody's house? Are we supposed to be here? Because it was just so organic. There was never a dull moment. I was listening, I was watching, like all my senses were like triggered. So you guys did a fantastic job triggering all our senses and being uncomfortable and loving and smiling and happy and frightened. It was the acting for me made the show, so it was fantastic.
really was.
Thank you. Well done.
I honestly think that's the difference between this and, like you said, these immersive shows like Delusion that are very much you go into a room, you're talked at. Yeah, there are participating moments, but this is so organic. And you feel like you do connect. I was staring at Conrad across the table for God knows how long, and he starts tearing, and all I wanted to do was grab his hand and be like, "Are you okay? It's okay. I promise it's okay."
Jeff, you had a question a
Just
second ago.
For people who have seen, obviously, like Norm and I have seen the show many, many times, there was a moment where him and I both connected upstairs. We're like, we're seeing shit we have never seen in this house.
Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing to us. So, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but how many, like, individual one-off scenes are within the show for people to see and experience, like, to come back and see again?
How many total?
Yeah.
If you happen to know. I mean, 'cause I'm trying to...
That face says it all.
Like I would say like
Quite a lot.
over 15 or 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There are 7 tracks on the show, but there's also, you can be split off from those 7 multiple times to go different ways.
Mm.
And we added at probably 6 or 7 extra for this season. And shuffled some orders of some things, but yeah, we have brand new stuff that you all got to see that we've never done before.
It's fantastic.
So we definitely wanted to live in the fall, like right. We had never done this show in October.
We've never done it in
And so we were like, oh, let's just try to get it as like sort of an our haunting world, you know. So yeah.
Also, Jeff, the thing is, you know, you say that there are particular tracks and stuff, but you can have a one-on-one moment that's not scripted. That if you have a conversation with somebody that, especially in here, that you know that's not part of the show. It's just happening. You know, based upon what the guest has said to you. So that makes it special because it'll never be said again.
And then what Jacob said then throws it back to what Jacob earlier said. Then you're able to then throw, because Melinda's touched X, Y, and Z, she then can pass that person over to this character's track so they can experience a little bit of that character, right?
And especially with all the vast family history we have, that you're just hitting the iceberg, or the tip of the iceberg, and you could ask a particular question, and you could just make a character just go in on like, well, yes, this, and you're getting a whole one-off that you just kind of literally mined out yourself. It's kind of incredible. And then of course the one-on-one experiences that you get in a scene with other people in terms of like, I mean, spoiler, Conrad under the bed. The person on the left side of Conrad gets a totally different scene than the person on the right side of Conrad, because one person can see Claudia and the other person can't. So it's like there's also those like mini one-offs inside the tracks with other people that it really makes the show so special.
It's just like impressive that you're able to keep track of all that without the use of the spreadsheet anymore too. But it's incredible what you guys do and like how you can organically change things based on those conversations with people.
Well, it's listening.
Yeah.
I think that comes down with listening.
I think
Seeing and hearing responses.
it just shows how incredible all of you are in the roles that you play, and the ability to just go back and forth with these people when you have no idea what they're going to come to the table with. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
But that's what keeps us coming back as well too,
Absolutely.
because it's always a surprise every time we
Yep.
come to your shows.
What people underestimate, and I'll brag on them even more a little bit, aside from going and spending weeks on back history, just in case there's some people that ask questions, is what people don't really like think about in a logistics standpoint is they're acting and they're performing their faces off, but they're also active listening, but they're also guest managing, they're also security, they are handling all of that, because the goal of this is to make sure no one sees us backstage doing all that. Yes, we have eyes on every single scene, every single person at all times, but you guys can't know that, right? So if you guys are wonderful guests, but oftentimes there's going to be someone who doesn't follow rules, or there's someone that's drunk, or there's whatever, and you know what? Mrs. Willows is going to put them in timeout like that. We've tied people up, we've gagged them, we've done things, but they have to do it in your character as they would. That's an added challenge for sure for any actor to have to do it.
No, that's just because I wanted to tie it.
Oh my goodness. god.
Norman.
What?
Were you tied up?
Yeah, I was tied up. That was actually, that was the scene that Jeff was talking about.
Yeah.
Conrad throws me in a damn school chair and ties me up facing the bathroom.
It's because I love you.
Well, you know, I love you too, but sometimes friends don't do that. But you know, and then who was the shadow? Who? Come on.
It was me.
Oh, it was so damn creepy.
Tell by the outfit.
I saw a silhouette in blue and I was tripping balls.
That's not blue.
Anyway, the point is, it was freaking me out. And then suddenly Jeff runs in. Norm, did you see this scene before? And I'm like, I did not see this scene. Get me out of here. So it was great. It was a lot of fun.
It was like those one moments like we realized that I can't tell you how many return guests we've had, which is again like the support for y'all to support this, which is also at the end of the day supporting artists, right? Like so, like thank you for supporting the arts, like first off, and then just like buying and investing in people in this kind of stuff. That's first and foremost why this.
I didn't want to take away from the Willows talk. I just wanted to say JFI in general, that during COVID, the shutdown, the phone call.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
That was just so special. And I was one of the recipients of that. It's so wonderful. And then you did a follow-up with a postcard that I think I was supposed to follow up on, but apologetically I did not. And I just ran across it the other day, and it was like I saved it, and it's the most beautiful piece of artwork. And so one day I'll send it back.
Yeah, I'll say like.
But I appreciate I mean, it just touched my heart so much that you would do that through all the shutdown and everything. And it's just so much more than the Willows, and I loved what you did. Was it the Four Queens?
At the three clubs.
Last year?
At three clubs, yeah.
Green Creek,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
I
Yep.
just love everything you do,
Oh.
and just to go beyond was just so fabulous.
Well, what is the most powerful about performance is that it comes from people. And who are we if we don't continue to like do and speak what we do? And like we are like we've spent. This is my family. Like this is it. You know, like I've made art with these people probably for 6-7 years now. And then my best friends. I work with my husband, and I just would say like all that letters experience stuff was like, damn, like we need to connect with people. Like we couldn't connect with you in real life, so we had to perform in masks last year. Like into Willows, we all like we took that risk, and we're like, damn, is it gonna be COVID caught? Like, are we gonna be in all that again? And so thank you. We just wanted to stay connected to all of you because
I still have it. I
yeah.
will send it back when
Oh.
I'm here. I have to say.
We'd love to hear from
I
you.
will say,
Yeah.
she does talk about the postcard and the call very frequently.
My friend even recorded, I think, what you said, because I thought, I don't remember what he said. She's like, oh, I have it right here. So I pulled it up and read it to everybody, and so you touched a lot of people during that. That was
That's
amazing.
wonderful. There's a lot of the voices right here on that line.
Excellent.
I have a question. We're all Jamie.
Is there ever a time where you have a guest that gets so immersed that they go from understanding that this is entertainment to this is reality? Because there were multiple times where it was borderline for me. So does that happen? And if it does, what do? Do you pull back? Do you just go straight forward and give it all to them?
Safety first. I had a girl that almost like threw herself down the stairs after the jump scare in the bathroom coming downstairs, and I had to like literally go like this so that she wouldn't hurt herself. So I think the main thing is, and I had to stop.
Yeah.
And I had lines that I had next, but I waited, to make sure that she was okay and breathing first. So yeah, I think that's just like number one. We offer like a safety word in case something drastic happens for ourselves, but yeah, that's got to be the first thing. But I don't know. I mean, I think that if you think if it's very real for you, like I like to go along and continue treading that line, and I don't think that's a bad thing personally.
If they go to that further line, then you have to pull them back. But, you know, it's really nice that they're vested, you know.
Dasha, how come you didn't stop me when I tried to jump down the stairs? I gotcha.
I think it's worthy to point out that something, at least I learned rather quickly, was, you know, control of the space. A lot can go wrong, and a lot can be misperceived. And so it really depends on the connection that you build with the person before the moments of suspense or sinister behavior, or whatever you want to call it. So it's not only preparing yourself to deliver the performance, the initial talk to, but it's also preparing yourself for how they're going to respond. And that's something we couldn't do without a table full of people.
And you'd be surprised at what controls an audience. And it changes for each character, but like a great example is with Conrad. If I get an asshole in the library who wants to just like joke around, Conrad will call that person out and be like, "You're being really rude. You're being kind of an asshole. You're probably ruining this for everybody." And they love it for some reason. They love it. And then they hone in, and they're in with you, and they're there with you. And it's like, I don't know why that works, but it does. And
Putting them on the spot. They want
Yeah, just like third grade all over again.
it's like they got a little treat, and I also got a little treat.
Any other questions? Anyone?
This is going to be kind of a weird one, but one of my greatest memories of the show is during one of the dinners, Jacob, you drew me a picture with my name and gave it to me, and I was like, I still have that to this day. It was one of the sweetest things ever. So my curiosity is, what other things have you given as like mementos to guests that are memorable to you over the years?
So many things. Especially Conrad. I mean, we've all kind of started to incorporate little things, but Conrad was a character from the start that wanted to give and have something to take home with you, to like connect with. And this year we have a couple things. The buddy buttons that Norm got.
Right here.
I'll give eyeballs away as like for safety throughout the night, so you have eyes all around you. And I'll also give out poems, drawings, you know, and cards. We have cards that I'll give if people answer like a question. But it's really nice to be able to give someone something to go home with that's really personal to them, because it means so much. And you know, you get people like, we do the show a million times, but someone comes to the show one time and it's like a life-changing experience for them. And I've had people come up to me on the street, and it's like such a special thing to be able to give them something to actually like hold on to close to their heart. And it's like, that's theirs forever. So I love to incorporate that anytime I can, anytime.
Pieces tell stories, right? So like collections, like memories, like a capsule of like personal notes, and yeah, all those blessings.
Uncle Ricky has business cards that you can call.
Yes, and leave me a message, because we listen.
We got.
I still have the eyeball, the bloody eyeball in the bag from the first creep show in my car.
Yeah.
It's a valuable possession in our house.
I've given people
Don't
like
get
hair.
pulled over.
That's dangerous. What are you doing, Witchy?
If you have DNA, it's one strand.
I'm talking about DNA, I'm talking about the witch aspect.
I have a lot more of her hair if you want more.
Well, any other questions, team? We're happy again?
I want to say thank you for allowing us to stand up and be part of this and tap into our own weirdness, I want to say. But for me, a person that I think I've always wanted to act, that little moment allowed me to do that. You know, I come out of my comfort zone there. So I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that moment with us.
Alright, so first, thank you for not literally 3 different times y'all have let me come to this event, and I've been underage every single time. And honestly, it was all kind of because of Dasha, because I remember I was like 14 years old, and she was working at Sinister Point, and then there was like this beet juice thing, and I drank it and threw up all over the table.
One of the highlights of my career was helping you in that moment and letting me And everyone thought you were in the show, and
So then, literally ever
first we
since
ever heard that.
then,
projectile vomiting in the seance that we were doing.
I've been on a trek and a journey just to be able to watch you in this production. And this is the third time I've been able to come see this. So then this is the first time I was able to actually see you. So thank you for letting me come.
On her birthday.
Well,
He is
Yes.
21 now.
He is
Shit.
21.
Yeah, 23 minutes ago.
But for an actual question, I guess this mainly goes for you, but it goes for the entire cast. What goes into, like, what qualities do you look for in choosing your Jonathan for the night? Because at least for me, I know that it was my 21st birthday, and I was like, oh, maybe I got picked because it was my birthday. But this is the second time I was given the opportunity to be Jonathan.
I was a Jonathan once too.
So then,
So it runs in the family, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so
So
you have your own special show after the show.
So I guess I'm just curious as to what you look into with your performer, like with everyone about.
It could be, we choose, I choose men or women, more essence, more than anything.
If you're mean to her, she's not
Depends upon personality, too. I'm not going to choose an asshole. Pardon my French, but I'm not, because I don't want him to be Jonathan. But it's usually people that have listened, who have been cordial, who have really participated, and they have a nice personality. Who would want, like I said, an asshole in their home as a family member, have enough of them. Surrounded by them. So
And to support the Melinda, like they're, everyone feels like that's almost the prize, right? That's like the golden ticket. Like, how do you get the Jonathan track, right? And we had one woman come to the show, like, meet her like 15 times. And we were like, she's done literally everything except for the John, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes we were like, by the fifth ticket purchase, we're like, right. We're like, okay, well maybe we should really award them the prize tonight at the house, kind of like your 21st birthday.
Yeah,
she was really, really taken back that she would even be chosen. We'd had in the past a couple of things that were little special scenes because she had come back so often, but she had never been chosen as Jonathan. So.
But it sounds like a really bad business move to me. If you just keep holding that out as a carrot, she might just keep coming back. But you know me. Anyway, so any other questions, guys?
Well, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.